From Daniel Studios in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's the Dennis Daniel Show. Tonight's guest, voice actor Tom Kenny. And your announcer, me, Belle Dandy. And now, here's your host. He is Cincinnati's next big radio personality, Mr. Dennis Daniel.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, you have tuned in to the hottest show under the sea and on blogtalkradio.com. I am talking, of course, of The Dennis Daniel Show. I am your host, Cincinnati's next big radio star who doesn't live in a pineapple under the sea, Dennis Daniel. And give it up once again for my lovely announcer. She is the Karen to my plankton, Belle Dandy. Well, folks, December's here, which means only one thing. Christmas is right around the corner. And we here at the Dennis Daniels Show want to give you something that's better than anything you're going to find under the tree or stuffed in your stocking. And I am proud to announce that tonight on the Dennis Daniels Show, we have got the most Krabby Patty makinist, karate choppinist, bubble blowinist, jellyfishnist, SquarePantsiest guy that we've ever had on the Dennis Daniels Show. I know a lot of those aren't real words, but hey, stick with me. Because tonight on the Dennis Daniels Show, we have got voice acting great Tom Kenny. Now, for those of you who don't know who Tom Kenny is, he is best known as everyone's favorite yellow SquarePants wearing sponge, SpongeBob SquarePants from the hit Nickelodeon cartoon series. Aside from doing SpongeBob, he's also known as Iron Man and Captain America in the Superhero Squad show. He's also Eduardo from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, the narrator and the mayor of Townsville in the Powerpuff Girls, and even Heffer Wolfe from the classic Rocko's Modern Life. Now, those are just a few things that Tom Kenny has been in. For over 20 years, Tom Kenny has been a voice acting genesis, or a voice acting renaissance man, and has delivered such countless characters through his voice. And talking about it doesn't do me any good. So I've created a small demo reel of some of his better known roles. Let's take a quick listen at what makes Tom Kenny so cool.
It's no surprise. He's working for Doc Doom.
Almost every supervillain is, ever since the Infinity Sword shattered in that air battle between Dr. Doom and Iron Man, and the pieces fell on the city.
So, we grab the fractals first, before Doom rebuilds the Infinity Sword and takes over the universe. Yada, yada, yada. Right now, we got monsters.
Roger that. Good luck, squaddies.
In the opposite corner, weighing in at 400 golden apples, the Viking god of rock, Valhallen.
Yo, villain man, if 'tis truly a thrashing you seek, then thrash upon a riff of my mighty axe.
Rock on, ye of flaxen dresses!
Slinkman, who is that scout?
Laszlo, sir.
No, the fat one.
Oh, that's a leech, sir. A sea lamprey, actually.
A sea lamprey. Well, see that Mr. Lamprey gets a uniform, will you?
Yes, sir.
The city of Townsville.
I have a dream
A city of growth and prosperity.
of the people, for the people, and by the people.
A city run by one man.
That we, the citizens of Townsville,
A man of strength and integrity.
promise to uphold the virtues of our city.
Yes, this city, our city, run by the mayor.
Then furthermore, ich bin ein Townsviller!
Okay, Patrick, it's all in the technique. First go like this. Spin around, stop. Double take 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then pelvic thrust. Woo! Woo! Stop on your right foot. Now it's time to bring it around town. Bring it around town. Then you do this, then this, and this, then that, and this, and that, and this, and that, and then... C-A-M-P-F-I-R-E-S-O-N-G-S-O-N Patrick!
Son! C-A-M-P-F-I-R-E-S-O-N!
Squidward! Good! It'll help! It'll help if you just sing along! Oh, yeah!
So as you can see, Tom Kenny is an incredible voice actor who has blazed the trail for many voice actors to follow. And he is going to be in an all-new Christmas special starring everyone's favorite yellow sponge. It's A SpongeBob Christmas, and it airs December 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nickelodeon. Now, what separates this from the classics like Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, The Town Santa Forgot, or even How the Grinch Stole Christmas? It is a clay animated show, so that means we're going back to the days of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Little Drummer Boy, and we're taking SpongeBob and mixing him with clay, which is weird because clay kind of evaporates in water. I think. I'm not sure. Not a chemist. But I feel it's going to blow everything out of the water. I hope not, because SpongeBob actually, lives in water. But anyway, let's get to this. I am so excited. This is going to be an awesome show. My guest tonight is a very accomplished voice actor who, for over 20 years, has delighted young and old with characters that will stand the test of time. And he's got a new special coming out soon. It's A SpongeBob Christmas, the first SpongeBob Christmas special in clay animation. And it airs December 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nickelodeon. So without further ado, give it up for the one, the only Mr. Tom Kenny!
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants!
Absorbent and yellow and porous is he.
SpongeBob SquarePants!
If nautical nonsense be something you wish,
SpongeBob SquarePants!
then drop on the deck and float like a fish!
Mr. Kenny, thank you, and welcome to the Dennis Daniels Show.
Hey, Double D, thanks for that great build-up. Wow, I kept thinking that the introduction was over, and I kept talking, and it kept going and going. You know your stuff, man.
Well, it comes with the territory, Mr. Kenny, but hey, if anyone knows anything about voice acting, it's you. Over 20 years as a voice actor, and you've given us such classic characters, the list goes on and on. Whether you're a fan of Eduardo from Foster's, the mayor or the narrator from the Powerpuff Girls, or even a fan of Carl from Johnny Bravo, you've done a lot of great characters, and I'm truly honored that you would be on my little show, because you are just essentially a staple in the voice acting empire. So let's go ahead and get right into this. What got you interested in acting?
First of all, let me say there are no little shows. Dennis, I love doing podcasts and shows that are hosted by people who are true fans, because a lot of the times, you get on these, like today I did a radio tour early in the morning, and it was fun, and you're publicizing your Christmas special or SpongeBob's Christmas special, but the people that are talking to you generally, they might read your IMDb 5 seconds before they interview you, but you're just kind of 3 minutes of radio on their show, and just to talk to somebody who really is immersed in this stuff, as I was ever since I was a little kid, really makes it a lot more fun for me. I appreciate it. And so there's my preamble to my answer to your first question. But I would, the way that I got into voice acting was, like I said, through having huge childhood fascination with people like Mel Blanc and June Foray and Dawes Butler and Stan Freberg and all the great voiceover people of the past. And then I started doing stand-up comedy when I was when I was still in high school. I answered an ad in a local paper to show up and do an open mic at a comedy club. My childhood friend and myself showed up. We were by far the youngest people there. We were 16 and started doing stand-up. And then from then on, I started making a living as a stand-up comedian, within a few years of that, and moved to Boston from Syracuse, New York, where I was from, to the bigger city of Boston, and then to San Francisco, California, where I did stand-up for a lot of years, and then down here to L.A., where I started doing, on-camera work, the occasional on-camera job, and guest spots on sitcoms, and then I was on, my wife and I were both on a show called Mr. Show with Bob and David. That was a HBO comedy series. I think my first animated series that I ever had a job on, which was Rocko's Modern Life on Nickelodeon, early 90s Nicktoon. And after Rocko wrapped, Steve Hillenburg decided that he wanted to maybe pitch his own idea to Nickelodeon. That idea was SpongeBob SquarePants. So he wanted me to voice the main character. I did not even have to audition or anything for SpongeBob, which was, still is unusual for me. Everything that I get as a result of auditioning, and then they listen to you and a bunch of other people that you're up against and decide who they like the best. And here 13 years later, we're still doing SpongeBob, and 13 minutes later, I'm still answering this question.
Who didn't love Rocko's Modern Life? One of the early staples for Nicktoons. I mean, back when the core set was Rocko's Modern Life, Doug, Ren and Stimpy, those cartoons that would lead to the cartoons of today. And by the way, Heffer on that show, that was a hoot!
That was a hoot, yeah. Heffer was my first regular character on the show, so he's real special to me.
I was going through some episodes on Netflix, and I realized, man, you could get away with a lot more stuff than you could nowadays. I mean,
I was thinking that too. Having watched some recently, I have a 15-year-old son who's interested in being an animator, and he kind of just rediscovered Rocko on Netflix and stuff, and it is amazing how much more you could sneak past them back in those days than you can now.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff that was on Ren and Stimpy and Rocko, I don't think would be, would make it past now. They're so much more careful and some would say paranoid now that you have to work a lot harder to be subversive than you did back in the olden days.
Blog Talk Radio, this is the Dennis Daniels Show. We've got Tom Kenny on the air, best known as SpongeBob, and the new It's a Spongebob Christmas, the SpongeBob Clay animation special, debuts December 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nickelodeon. So, one of your best known roles is, of course, SpongeBob SquarePants, which, by the way, check out the awesome Christmas special, available on iTunes and DVD, where fine DVDs are sold. Cheap pop, I know. So, how did you develop SpongeBob's voice for your audition, and what's it like to play him?
Oh, it's a blast. I might also add that It's a SpongeBob Christmas album featuring a whole bunch of new Christmas songs co-written by myself and Andy Paley is also available on iTunes and Amazon and wherever fine digital music is sold.
T-pop.
SpongeBob, so there's the plug. There's the plug part of the interview out of the way. But SpongeBob has just always been this great gift where he kind of came my way through Steve Hillenburg, and then we made this 7-minute short, and then we couldn't believe that they let us do that, and then the short got turned into a series, and we couldn't believe that it was actually becoming a series. Maybe it'll last a season or two if we're lucky. And now 13 years later, it's the franchise is still going strong, and it's global. Last year I was in Italy, and I was in this remote mountain village in Italy, and there's a waitress that's waiting on us in a cafe is wearing a SpongeBob T-shirt, and she doesn't even speak English. And it's just really it's a trip, because so many things. If you do the math from 1999 to 2012, so many things have come and gone. Things that were huge and just in your face, and now are completely forgotten in the pop cultural landfill where stuff comes and goes very quickly. And SpongeBob manages to be one of those rare things that actually has staying power. And it's a great, fun show to work on. The rest of the cast are all delightful people. Everybody, it's all the original cast that started 13 years ago. Everybody's still doing their same parts. And, it's kind of this comfortable old shoe where we go in and record it. And unlike a lot of animated shows, it's done full cast recording, so everybody is in the room at the same time. So Patrick is standing next to me, and Squidward is on the other side of me, and Mr. Krabs is behind me, and Plankton's over in the corner. And my wife, who plays Plankton's computer wife, Karen, my real life wife, Jill Talley, plays Plankton's wife on the show, is back there next to Plankton, and we're just laughing and yucking it up and ad-libbing and having as much fun as it was when it was first starting out.
It does sound like you have a lot of fun on this show. So I gotta know, and this has been bugging me for many years now. One of your trademark abilities is your dynamic range of voice, and you've got a spectrogram just of voices, and it's so cool how you can do the.
I love that. I love how you put that. That's great.
Thank you. You can do an old man. You can do a old time radio person. You can do the deep booming voice.
The city is saved.
Yeah.
Yes. The city of Townsville.
Thanks to the Powerpuff Girls.
See, that's what I love. So, how did you develop your range of voices?
I would say just again, a lot of this stuff kind of starts in childhood when you're just kind of, I was always fascinated with accents and different voices and, just kind of listening to people and, even with stuff that I guess was kind of unusual for a kid to be into, like old-time radio shows and things like that. One of the local stations in Syracuse where I was from, during the dead of night, like when nobody was listening, they would just play old radio shows, like The Shadow and, Suspense and like all these old 1940s radio shows. This is in the 70s. And I just couldn't believe the range of voice actors, and I started to realize that, like, wow, that guy who's the announcer on this was the gangster on that other crime show that I was listening to the other day, and and then I started going, wow, some of these guys actually did cartoons. Paul Frees, wow, that's the guy from the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, and the Haunted Mansion. Of course, there's always My Way, It's like, wow, it's all the same guy. This is a trip. And of course, I grew up in the days before the internet, so you kind of had to find this crap out on your own. And it kind of eventually became clear to me that maybe this is a job that you could do, an occupation that somebody could actually pursue if you could figure out how to do it. So I think, the main answer to your question is that I just listened and I, just stealing from a whole lot of different sources over the years, and just listening to things and and I'm also always willing to audition for anything and just get my hands dirty and go in there, and a lot of these voice actors get successful, and then they won't leave their house, and they'll only record from their studio in their home, and I'm always I'm a working guy, so I'm always bombing around in my crummy little Prius auditioning for stuff. I have a blast. I like what I do, and I want to do as much of it as I can for as long as I can.
Well, I gotta say, Mr. Kenny, you've just got this incredible voice that will bend but will not break. I mean, just the ability to go from voice to voice to voice. You do SpongeBob 1 second, then you, in the middle of a sentence, you break out doing hall monitor. Just, the ability to bend. I mean, and again, you do accents, I think, incredibly. I still can't count how many times me and my brother and my dad, whenever one of us is taking so long, we're always going 2 hours later.
Yeah, that's the French narrator from SpongeBob is actually based on Steve Hillenburg's ocean explorer idol, Jacques Cousteau, the French oceanographer who is such a big hero of Steve Hillenburg, who has a background, has and had a background in ocean sciences. Prior to becoming an animator, and SpongeBob is kind of the marriage of those two things that he was, that he had a great interest in, cartoons and comedy and ocean science. So yeah, it's fun. I mean, one thing is it never gets boring. It's fun to be on such a variety of shows. Some of it is preschool stuff, and some of it is kind of Adventure Time, just bizarro stuff, and some of it is just classic, Marvel, DC bad guys or good guys in superhero cartoons, and then some of it, like with Brickleberry, the Comedy Central show that Daniel Tosh produces, is very scatological and adult, quote unquote, and it's fun to do that wide range. And I'm always grateful that that I was able to crack into voice acting, because the variety of characters that I've gotten to an opportunity to portray, is so much wider than if I were an on-camera actor. You know what I mean? In voiceover, I've gotten to be old guys and kids and robots and villains and women and every conceivable body type and creature that you can think of. And on camera, I'd be playing middle-aged guys with glasses. So it's really a great opportunity and keeps you from ever getting bored, because SpongeBob is 1 day a week, and that's a blast. And then the other 4 days a week, you're doing other things, whether it's Transformers or Winnie the Pooh or anything. So it for somebody with a short attention span, it's a fantastic gig.
Well, voice acting, in a sense, with you, Mr. Kinney, you become like a chameleon. Your voice can transform and shift and change around, to all these different characters, and whether you're doing the Ice King from Adventure Time, whether it's Raimundo from Shaolin Showdown, or
that's right.
Yes, all great shows, or whether you're doing Iron Man or Captain America from the Superhero Squad show, or again just doing SpongeBob and Patchy the Pirate from SpongeBob. Doing all these great roles. Your range gives you the ability to transform and morph, kind of like a Ditto from Pokemon. So I think
well, it's and it's a tough nut to crack, to anybody who's wondering how they can, listening and wondering how they can break into it. I'm not going to lie and say that it's an easy world to get into, because cracking the glass ceiling of it is tough. They have their talent pool of people that do the majority of the work, and let's face it, one reason that I work as much as I do is that hopefully I'm versatile and can sound like different people. But one of the things that helps me is that these people are trying to get their shows on the air, and it's a very difficult thing. There's a million different fires that they have to put out all the time. So if you can become the go-to person where they can go, oh, you know what, just have Tom do that. Tom's great, Tom's easy, and then we can deal, we're trying to deal with this Hollywood celebrity who's a big pain in the neck, and they're scared, So just by virtue of being easy, so, I would say being versatile and not being a pain in their is half the battle. And then convincing people, the powers that be, that you're versatile and can do a lot of different things is a battle too.
If anyone can rise to the occasion and deliver the hard-hitting performance that show needs, it's Tom Kenny. Because Tom Kenny, he's a bad mother effer, and he takes no prisoners.
You're damn right.
I love that. BlogTalkRadio.com, this is the Dennis Daniels Show. We've got Tom Kenny on the air, best known as SpongeBob, and the new SpongeBob Christmas special. It's A Spongebob Christmas, debuts December 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nickelodeon.
And don't forget, it's a SpongeBob Christmas album on iTunes and Amazon.
SpongeBob!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Double D, Dennis Daniels. Oh, yeah.
Honored. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of SpongeBob. I'm not worthy. Oh, that's going in the promo reel.
It's my holiday gift to you.
Thank you so much. So anyway, what was it like working on the clay animated version of a SpongeBob special, and how do you think this Christmas special will differ from other Christmas specials? Because let's face it, there are tons of specials out there. So what makes It's a SpongeBob Christmas different from the pack?
Well, this one for sure is a throwback and a love letter, I should say, from all of us that work on the show. It's all done in classic stop motion. Every little outfit for each character had to be made, and it wasn't that different for me and the actors, because we're doing our job doesn't change. We're just channeling these characters and becoming SpongeBob and Patrick and Sandy and Mr. Krabs and Plankton and et cetera, Squidward. So this special is definitely a love letter to those ones that we loved as a kid. 3 years ago, myself and Andy Paley, a friend of mine, wrote a song called Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas. And we made it for it was like a little Christmas present that we gave to the people that worked on the show. And we gave it to some of the executives at Nickelodeon, just dropped it on their desk before the Christmas break, just burned our own CDs of Don't Be a Jerk, It's Christmas. And made up this story where, a meteor of this element called jerktonium has landed in Bikini Bottom, and jerktonium radiation turns you into a jerk, like an unpleasant bully. That's what this radiation does of jerktonium. And Plankton gets a hold of some bits of the jerktonium meteor and bakes it into fruitcake that he disseminates to everyone in Bikini Bottom. And SpongeBob, of course, is so pure of heart and small of mind that he doesn't get affected by it. And, we just kind of went on from there. And then Nickelodeon said, well, why don't we do a whole full-length, holiday album? And I said, well, wow, I've been wanting to do that for years. Why Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Muppets and not SpongeBob? Let's get a holiday album going. So Andy Paley and I wrote 7 or 8 new songs in addition to the ones in the special, Christmas Eve Jitters, Wet Wet Christmas, Snowflakes, Pretty Ribbons and Bows, Christmas Is Mine. And, we just started having fun creating these songs and bringing in our musical friends. I know a lot of musicians, so we just brought in, musical friends of ours to help us out. And it came out really great. And Nickelodeon wound up releasing it as a digital-only holiday album on, Amazon and iTunes and what have you. So it's been, SpongeBob continues to, even after all these years, kind of lead me into all these new, fun, interesting learning curve kind of experiences that I really like. And somebody, a friend of mine was saying, wow, when you were a kid, you never wanted to be famous. You never dreamed about being famous. You dreamed of being Mel Blanc. And, I said, yeah, that was the guy that I don't care about being a movie star. Being famous looks like a drag. People chasing you around, TMZ, trying to take pictures of your kids. Screw that. I want to be, I want to be Mel Blanc. And, it's a great, if you don't care about being famous, it's a great gig. And you can still have all the fun of working on hit shows and that creative experience of dealing with, animators and music, musicians and artists who, in animation, I think the people in animation are pound for pound the most creative and nicest people in all of entertainment. So it's a great little entertainment tide pool to spend your life in, where it's not quite as crazy as being, in the world of movies and TV, which are a little too much for me.
Well, hey, you, again, like I said, you have blazed a trail for many voice actors to follow.
I hope so. I hope so that people, young people that are into these cartoons will try their hand at being animators and voice actors, because you always need new creative blood, and hopefully they'll, when they're running show business, they'll hire, broken down 90-year-old voice actor Tom Kenny to be on their shows.
I even think then you'll still have it. Well, anyway, before we let you go, we like to ask all our guests this question. Our audience is a lot of voice acting wannabes, or not wannabes, but voice actors in the making. So, do you have?
Let's call them future voice acting professionals.
There we go, future voice acting professionals. I like that. So, do you have any advice for those who want to get their start in the voice acting industry?
Well, I guess I would say just keep your ears open. Be original. Take classes. I wish I had some strategy that I could offer people, but I stumbled into voice acting in such a random elliptical way, because I was a stand-up comedian and somebody from Hanna-Barbera as well as somebody from Nickelodeon saw me performing at a comedy club here in L.A. Back in the early '90s, and it was kind of this long path that went from doing that to, occasionally doing voiceovers to doing more voiceovers to eventually being able to phase out pretty much anything that wasn't a voiceover in terms of gigs for me, which was how I wanted it. And just keep your ears open, be original, be creative, and utilize this great technology available now, where people can make their own cartoons and record your voices and play with the audio of your voice and just kind of DIY, do it yourself, and when it comes time, just send that MP3 of your voices to prospective agents. You can find their contact information in a whole bunch of places online, and good luck to everybody.
Check out It's A SpongeBob Christmas, debuting December 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nickelodeon. And if you can't
I'm going to plug it again, Double D. It's a SpongeBob Christmas album.
Yes,
available
on
iTunes and Amazon.
And you can probably find it at your local music retailer like Target. You also can check out SpongeBob. They have 5 seasons on Netflix, and those are some of the 5 most awesome seasons out there. Mr. Kenny, thank you so much for being on my program. It was truly a huge honor. I'm sorry it has to be so short, but hopefully maybe in 2013 we can have you on once again if we survive the apocalypse.
Well, we'll see if the Mayans knew what they were talking about. But Dennis, it was really fun. The good news is that we've got stuff left over to talk about next time. And if I did not have to take my son to school, his school, he goes to high school and it starts in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to get him there. I would be talking to you till dinner time.
Well, that's okay, because here on this Daniel Show, we always like seconds. So again,
I love it. Okay, man. Well, and we still can. We've got enough subject matter left over for dessert next time.
Oh, I will be taking seconds and thirds, and I know my audience will as well. So, Mr. Kenny, thank you so much for being on my program, and hopefully, in the near future, we can have you back on again.
Great, I'm sure we will.
Happy holidays to you and yours and all your listeners, and to anybody who's looking to break into voice acting.
I look forward to working with you guys in the future. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, well, this is going to do it for the Dennis Daniels Show, and until we see you again down the road, good night, SpongeBob!
Good night! Ah!